I'm your huckleberry.
This is the Smoking Guns Podcast.
No G with a Z, P-O-D, Smoking Guns Podcast, back for our second episode in Season 5. We're excited to be here with you. We are the Smoking Guns Podcast. We're a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League, the San Antonio Brahmas of the United Football League, and starting this season, the San Antonio Caballeros of the International Football Alliance.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to
yet for them?
Not yet.
No, we don't yet. We gotta come up with something because we got the horns forward and we've got the guns up. Got to come up with something for the Caballeros.
We need a hashtag. Yep.
We do.
And we need a hashtag. Leo, you got to tell the story. Maybe we bring our guest on first, and then we tell the story about the name. Because the IFA said they were coming here for a while, and then they asked the fans to vote on a name. And there were 4 options, and we didn't love any of them. And so you tossed out an option, and we kind of tried to push on it and ended up pushing it all the way to that. That is now the team's
It worked
identity.
out. I don't know how it worked out, how it got there, but it did. And great choice.
We're excited to be joined by Jacqueline Mumme. She's the wife of head coach, and the reason Coach can't be on with us is they're having owners meetings tonight online, and
Business
he got called away to that, so he's going to be doing that. But I guess that means he's part owner or owner. I would love to find out some of the structure sort of this.
That's a good question.
But
Yeah.
before we get started, let's welcome her on. Jacqueline Mumme, how are you?
Hey, nice to meet you. How y'all doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
So tell us a little bit about the structure here, because your husband, Hal Mumme, the head coach, but also is in the owners meetings tonight. Is he part of the ownership group here? How does all this work, structure?
He is the owner and the head coach.
Okay.
And he wants it to be basically it's the International Football Alliance. So it's going to be shown worldwide. It's the first football in America that'll be shown worldwide. And the website is SASCA San Antonio Caballeros.com.
Very cool.
But he's real excited. He's been working on this for about 2.5 years or more. And I'm real supportive of it, real excited. We're going to play this summer at UIW.
Yep.
And we're going to recruit cheerleaders from there. And we've already recruited players that played there before. And we're just real excited to be here in San Antonio. Finally, it took us long enough.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Why San Antonio? Why is that a place where, because we've got a lot of professional spring, summer kind of football opportunities right now, and you're adding another one into that. What made San Antonio a place that you guys kind of targeted and said this is a place where the IFA would be great?
Well, we've always been a big fan of the Alamo. My husband has, and we just love the atmosphere. We love the people here, and it actually was by accident that this came up, because we were originally going to go to Cancun.
Ooh.
And it opened up where somebody wasn't able to coach, so we had the chance, and he jumped right on it because he was excited to move back to he grew up here, and I grew up in Mississippi, but I still love it here. I remember coming here as a child to the Alamo, and we love the history, and all the people seem really, really sincere. And y'all make the best.
When you say Cancun, was that also with this league?
Ma'am?
When you said you were going to move to Cancun, was that with this league?
It was. But Cancun wound up not working out because the owner, we had a conflict. So it just worked out better this way. This is where God wanted us. And
It'd be a rough deal to have to spend 4 or 5 months in the summer in Cancun every year. That'd be a rough.
yeah, right.
That'd be a rough draw, man.
I
That'd
was
be
looking
tough.
forward to it at first, but then, I mean, when it comes to the people here, I don't speak Spanish too well, so I guess in Cancun you don't really have to know it that well, though.
No, it's kind of English English speaking in Cancun. You can get along with plenty of English. I know. I took one trip to Cancun one time in my life when I was 14 with my parents. You want to know the worst way to go to Cancun, Mexico?
With your parents?
With your parents.
Yeah.
A lot of fun when you're 14.
Can't get in too much trouble that way.
No, you can't. We went snorkeling. That was a great time, but everything else was just kind of I got offered 2 bottles of tequila for a Dallas Cowboys hat I was wearing, and my mom wouldn't let me take it.
Hal and I went there. Coach and I went there on Christmas. We took a cruise there. We decided to leave the family behind and just take a cruise. And we went, what do you call it, windsurfing?
Yeah.
Or parasailing. And I was scared a shark was going to bite my butt. But it was fun.
Yeah.
They dipped us
Yeah,
in
you
the
bring
water.
that up. You bring that up. I also got to do parasailing, but the reason I didn't remember that is parasailing is really not all that interesting. You're just sitting in a chair up over the ocean. That's all there really is to it.
It's beautiful scenery, and you can see the sharks from way up high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you can. In fact, you can look down on swimming areas, right there at all the resorts have swimming areas right there along the beach. You can look down, and between 2 swimming areas where there are people, you can see sharks swimming and circling between the people. And you're so high up, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But sharks are not very far away from you when you're near the ocean.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
It's all part of the tourist vacation deal.
Yeah.
Don't get eaten by sharks.
That's why this gordito doesn't get in the ocean, because I'll be the first one the shark makes a beeline to.
You never tried to surf?
No, heck no. I don't like going anywhere, Jacqueline. I don't like going anywhere that I'm not at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
If I'm not at the top of the food chain, then it's a place I don't want to be.
Right.
That's my philosophy.
James Palmer says you're chicken, Leah. He's throwing it out there.
Whatever, but I'm a live chicken. I'm a live.
You're a live chicken. That's it. You mentioned, Jacqueline, that Coach is from here. I don't know how many people realize the storied career that Hal Mumme has had. They may have heard the name before, but starting out here, coaching in college, moved on to some high school football, Copper's Cove, kind of made a name there. Ends up going to Wesleyan up in Iowa, I believe.
Yeah, that's where the trade officially started.
Yeah. He has some success there. Ends up working his way up through the college ranks. He's the head coach in Kentucky for a couple of seasons. University of Kentucky. Moves on from there because that's what
they call him the SEC legend.
Oh yeah.
They call him. He's known in the SEC as the legend.
Yeah, he's one of the few coaches in the last 20 years that's beat Alabama. He's got to win against Alabama.
Exactly. So he's real proud of that.
And then he's worked in lots of different leagues around since that time. He spent some time, way I understand it, as a consultant for some NFL teams. He's obviously done the AAF, the Alliance of American Football, was something that brought us all together originally for the San Antonio Commanders. He, for a brief time, was part of Memphis, part of the Memphis team there. Although I don't know that he was actually there once the season started. He got them going and then moved on to another project, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it just wasn't for him.
Yeah.
He saw something else coming, and that's when he decided to join the XFL, and that was really great. We had a great turnout of fans, and then COVID hit. So it's been a long time for this, and we're hoping this is a huge success.
Part of Bob Stoops' coaching staff over there in Dallas the first time the XFL got kicked off.
They were fun. That. They were the best hellraisers you could be with right there.
That was the team I was following because we did not have a San Antonio team in that first or second version of the XFL. I guess it's the second version.
Yeah.
Also worked with the Spring League for a season, coaching out there, and then now he is part of this.
Won the championship for the Spring League in Houston, and they played in July. You were talking about playing in heat earlier before we started, and it was 100. I think it was 102 degrees that day in Houston when we played in June. So
yeah, Houston gets hot and humid.
But we wound up winning the championship. I have to show you the huge trophy. It's like 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, he's real proud of it.
Hey, you guys.
Ever since the Spring League, he really just wanted to have that camaraderie with the players. And he had a lot of people, a lot of great talent that got recruited, like some to Chicago, some to San Diego, that are still there at San Diego, I believe. And he just loves to help people find their, get situated to where, because COVID was really a hardship for all the players in college because they got to miss out. And that's when he was in 2021, that's who he was coaching, is the players that got left out. And so he's just really wanting to give new players a chance to go to the NFL that really didn't get that chance.
Mm-hmm. So, you talk about Coach Mumme, really enjoying taking a role where he's can help players, and he's a role influence on them. And I got a chance to talk to a couple of young men, one in particular that we'll talk about it a little bit later, because I wanted to ask you about this young man that specifically mentioned what big a part Coach Mumme played in his career and what he's doing now. But on that line about players, I wanted to ask you, you guys recently had a tryout earlier this month. I think it was less than 2 weeks ago. The weekend.
We sure did. It was a really huge success. And I think they mentioned some of them on Facebook. I tried to share as many as I could. I wasn't there myself, but I heard about it, and it was huge.
Yeah, one of those guys, I think was, if I'm not mistaken, I saw was Jaleel Ali, who actually played for the Gunslingers when in their inaugural season when they first started. So some of the fans of the show will maybe be familiar with. They called him the Island Ali because he played defensive back. He played cornerback for the Gunslingers at the time. Okay. But I think I saw something about him playing wide receiver, or at least being signed on in the meantime as wide receiver for the Caballeros.
I doubt it. Hal is it good? He has a good talent for seeing talent. He always has. He always knows how to pick them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Miss Saki, how long have you been with Hal? How did that all start? Yeah. Just like we can get his career and your time together so we can line it up.
Okay. Well, I was actually his landlord in Mississippi.
Okay.
And he was the coach at Belhaven. And I sent him a late notice on his door because his rent was late. And it was my fault because I hadn't emailed his assistant, of course. And he was just a real sweet guy. He had just finished going through a divorce, and it wasn't then that we started talking. It was about 6 months later, and I'm previously divorced too. But we just met in the elevator, and we just kind of locked eyes, and from then on it was over. So, he likes to tell people he met me in an elevator, but that wasn't it.
So you've been with
funny
him
story.
to the different changes.
Yeah, but I've been with him ever since, and I just, I was in real estate for a long time, and I just love being a football coach's wife because we get to travel, and I mean, we've probably driven around the world 3 times because we don't like to fly, and I'm his DD, I'm his designated driver always, so that's my biggest role in our family is I make sure we get there safe.
That's
an
huge.
important role.
Not that he's a bad driver, but he kind of makes me nauseous when he drives because he's always on the phone. He's like, stop, go. I'm like, I'm a smooth driver. I like everything to go smooth. And so we made an agreement that I'd be his driver because he's on the phone too much to drive and focus anyway. It's hard to go 80 miles an hour in Texas. And we always travel with our cat and dog, Buttercup and Hawk, everywhere we go. I know it's crazy, but can't drive 80 miles an hour and have a cat and a dog and be on the cell phone talking business. So I'm a good part of that. I'm good for something. I tell them I'm good for something every now and then.
I'm sure you are.
The team is planning on playing home games. You mentioned it already in the field there at Incarnate Word.
Mm-hmm.
We originally were going to play June 7th, and I think we are actually here at home. But our first game is going to be in Ohio against Coach Manning over in Ohio, and that's May 31st.
The Iron Men.
The Iron, yeah.
Yeah.
The doing the games outdoors, you're talking about June and July. It gets warm. I mean, it gets really warm. 110 degrees, still 95 or 96 degrees even after the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Well, is there any concern that's gonna affect your ability to just kind of draw some people out to the games?
No, I think because San Antonio has so many great attractions, we're going to try and pull in some of the vendors and people around and vacation and make it, about family, really family oriented. And, kids love playing outside, and once you get used to it, it's not so bad.
I think I saw something posted recently on the IFA Facebook page about ticket sales going up soon. Do you have any idea, like a ballpark or what the range of what tickets are going to cost? You talk about family friendly. Can you share that with us?
I think he hasn't given me the details on that yet, but they go on sale early March, so I can let you know. And we're having a meet and greet, so I can let you know then. But they're planning on getting a package together, so if they want to come see the Alamo or SeaWorld and you make a weekend out of it. And another thing that's great is the Air Force. We're going to they have a graduation every Friday. So they're going to be our honorary people that come every week. And, that brings the family in too. So they've really kind of thought it out quite nice for it to work out.
We had mentioned earlier that the Brahmas have this as a hand signal and the gunslingers kind of have this.
Yeah.
Have you thought about like some kind of hand signal that we could do for the Caballeros?
Maybe a hat tipping because it's the gentleman.
Oh, okay. Like this?
Yeah, I think cowboy hats because everybody's, the sun's going to be down when we play. That's why we play at night because it's going to be so hot. So it's, it's going to be hot summer nights, but
cold beer.
The Caballeros are gentlemen, so they tap their hats to women. And it's going to be the Damas and Caballeros cheerleaders.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep.
The Damas. That's going to be
I'm in charge of the cheerleaders, y'all, but we actually are going to hire somebody that was in the NFL. So she's going to get organized for me because I wasn't ever a cheerleader. I just know what I want. I want them to have fun and it to be almost like high school, but it's even better because it's worldwide. I just want them to have fun,
Mm-hmm. I'm glad, Jacqueline, that you're saying Caballeros and pronouncing the double L as the Y because I've seen a lot around just on social media, people talking. People are still struggling. They got some time. They're gonna learn the name, but they're struggling with the caballeros and stuff like that.
I'm still struggling on it too. I can't get my tongue to roll like that.
Oh yeah, well, you're almost there. You got it.
Recently there in the IFA, we had a little bit of a change with the Dallas team not being housed in Dallas. They're actually going to be down in the North Austin area. Georgetown, I think, is where they're going to play. I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to kind of build a rivalry between these.
That's what I was going to say. Teams. I think it's a great idea because it's a smaller, field too, and it's it's more family oriented, like I said, and it's the rivalry is going to be that much more fun. And we're going to have 4 total games this summer, home games.
Yep.
But if they want to travel to the one in is it Georgetown?
Georgetown, yeah.
Yeah, so it won't be too far for them to travel.
No, that's just north of Austin. So you're talking a little under 2 hours, probably because of the Austin traffic to get to that. And if you take the toll road, if you don't mind paying the toll, that actually goes right and ends right there at Georgetown. So you just completely bypass that traffic in Austin. You end up right in Georgetown.
That's even better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely want it to be a high school feel of Friday Night Lights, but we want it to be known that it is pro football, and it's mainly for development for the NFL, and the main thing is they're going to get noticed worldwide. I think that's the greatest attribute.
So you mentioned, worldwide, you mentioned development and to get, scouts looking for the NFL, and that's the ultimate goal. So that leads right into this young man that I spoke to. So I'll just go ahead and talk about him right now and see if you can kind of tell us his story. I can't recall his name, but young man, he's playing quarterback. He was playing in Germany. He was at the meet and greet.
Stan Bedwell.
Yes. And he's just, his eyes lit up talking about Coach Mumme and about the opportunity to play in San Antonio and play professionally and really show his talent to the local fans. And he's so appreciative of what Coach Mumme has done for him. And he just looks like he just wants to pay that all back just as quickly as he can. And he really struck me as such a great story. Tell us about him.
He's an outstanding individual, y'all. He's traveled all around the world. I think he's got the record of the most. He played quarterback all around the world, and he's got the most yardage or something. Like, it's kind of crazy, but he just started out with Hal in Belhaven, I believe it was. Baby, was it Belhaven? Yeah, he worked for him for a year, but he's been at Europe for a long time in development leagues like that. And he just has a great attitude, and he knows how to talk to people. And he's great at recruiting, and the players really relate to him because he was a player for so long. Actually, in the spring league, he was our backup quarterback.
Oh, okay.
If you watch that, he wasn't in the championship game, but he helped us get there. He did have to come in the last one before the championship game. So yeah, he's very much involved, and he's been to charity events, and children look up to him. Like, he's definitely a hero to many kids out there.
That's cool. Great
story.
So,
Jackie, you said worldwide. Do you already have a contract with streaming company, or how are they going to be able to watch these games worldwide?
Jason Adams is the one that set all that up, and he's the reason why it's going to be. I don't know all the details, but I know it's going to be. It's Argentina. Hal, help me out here. All the places worldwide. We just picked up New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand and Australia, he's doing it right now. and that's going to include part of Europe. But yeah, it's definitely global, and it's through Tubi. And there's another one. Was it
And Right Now TV, right?
half in Mexico and 100 million? Yeah. So Tubi, and there's some other ones, but I'll let you know that as soon as I know more detail. If Hal was right here, he could tell you. But
Well, that's exciting.
Sign up.
I know, and the cheerleaders are getting noticed too. And I mean, it's just the sky's the limit. That kids can go anywhere and get noticed all around the world, and I think that's great. I think it's a great opportunity. And Hal and Jason Adams have done an outstanding job working with this and pulling it all together, because it's not easy to get a league together, and they've really put the work into it. So I'm pretty sure it's going to turn out great.
Any word on merchandise, like hats or T-shirts coming out with the Caballeros?
Well, we're getting on board with that right now with the brand. We didn't really like it at first, but we're going to keep it with the horse. We really wanted a gentleman with the hat, and I think that's what we might go towards. So we're still working on that, on the logo.
Yeah, I remember at the meet and greet, Coach was saying that the logo might be changing. Probably not for the first season, because we're, wheels are turning and season will be starting before you know it. So I wouldn't imagine there's enough time to do all that. But yeah, he did hint that there may be some changes in the logo and maybe even in the colors a little bit.
Yeah, but right now it's a lot similar to the Gunslingers.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to coincide with the Gunslingers and market with them too. I think it'd be great for us to kind of have that synergy, like RC and I were talking about. And I want to be on y'all's show more often so we can get out there. And I encourage people to call me and show me around, because I don't have any friends here yet.
Oh.
So I want to get
Well, we'll hang out, Jackie. Don't worry, we'll hang out.
All my friends are in Mississippi, but I'm making them surely.
Yes.
But yeah, we're really excited, and we hope a lot of players will come out on top and have great careers out of this.
Yeah, that'd be
for that too. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Missions Highlighters talking about hashtag to do something with the air raid, which would be fitting. So like air raid SA or something like that. That could be something. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all were talking about how the name came about, and I was for naming them the Cannons because of the Alamo.
Sure.
We had the best cannons or whatever, but I was just thinking, look at those cannons, like throwing the cannons, and cheerleaders, look, these cannons, never mind. But yes, that was my idea. And then I met RC Woods, and that sounded better. But I never heard of Caballeros because I'm not, I don't speak Spanish. But Gentleman, I think, is the perfect name, because that's the way they're going to act. They're not going to party and go crazy, and they're going to be doing fundraisers and just going and making appearances and really encouraging the young kids to get out.
Yeah, and it's a dual meaning in the name, because it's also knights. So it's like knights and gentlemen. So they're gentlemen. They're gonna really be representative of the San Antonio culture and what people in San Antonio are all about. But on the field, they can also be tough and mean. Like, you don't want to mess with them, because these are trained guys, trained warriors. So yeah, it's a double meaning, and I think it's a great name for the San Antonio. And I'm not just saying that because I thought of it. I think it's a cool name. There's so many things you can do with it.
Some of the schools, at the high schools, and he wound up coaching one of them 20-something years ago. I can't remember his name, but they've offered to let us use their field for practice and stuff.
That's awesome.
We're reaching out to middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Very cool.
And
He's
when will
assimilating
practice start?
Practice starts in 70 days.
Wow.
Our first game is in 90 days. So it's getting on there. Getting excited.
And he's putting together his coaching staff right now. Any word on who he's got coming in to help him put all this together?
You can help answer these questions.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm off my
howdy, Coach.
Yep.
How you doing, Coach?
What do we need?
Tell us a little bit about your coaching staff. I was just asking about what kind of coaching staff you're putting together here for San Antonio.
We've got a good staff, particularly for what we're doing with developing NFL type players. You've already I heard y'all talking about Stan Bedwell. He's our offense coordinator. Has a lot of pro experience in Europe. Our offensive line coach is Ronnie Ben Clark. He's coached at every level, both pro and college. He was with Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns as the offensive line coach, so he'll be great for our offensive lineman. He's got a lot of NFL type experience. Our running back coach is a guy who's played in the NFL, Vic Stagliano, and he's also a Hollywood. He's a Hollywood actor.
He's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. He was in Sons of Anarchy. I coached him a long time ago. He coaches high school football in California on the side, so he saw this as a great opportunity to further his coaching career. And on defense, Jesus Salinas is a local guy who's really had a lot of college experience, particularly in Mexico. And he's been at our tryout Saturday. He was the star of the show. He did coach the whole defense all by himself. Our defensive staff hadn't been announced yet. We're going to do that in April, but I've got several really good defense coordinators. So
you had asked about what's his name, Halil Ali.
Yeah, Jaleel Ali.
Halil Ali. Did y'all recruit him to be a wide receiver? Yeah,
we tried to. I'm not sure what his status is. Stan would know. I'd have to ask him. Stan's also, besides being offensive, everybody on the staff has 2 jobs at least. I've got about 8, but but Stan's job is he's the personnel guy, and he's been in charge of signing the players.
Do you have a roster limit already set where that you have to be pared down by the end of training camp versus the beginning?
Yes, we have. We can have up to 53 on the roster. We can only suit up 40.
Excuse me, guys.
Excuse me.
Yeah, pick up the hawk dog.
Yeah.
The hawk is barking. Sorry.
Go away.
Just pick him up and hold him.
I will if he ever let me.
Come here.
We can have up to 53 on the final roster. We probably won't carry that many. I don't want to have 13 guys sitting around unhappy every weekend. So I'm thinking about holding it to about 45, and we'll suit up 40. We have to have at least 3 internationals on the suit up team. Okay. We'll probably have 5 total, but these are not charity cases. We've got our internationals are going to be people that can play. We've got 3 already, and we've got a punter that punted at OU. We got a DB that played corner at Florida from the Ivory Coast of Africa.
Picked up a kicker too, didn't he?
Yeah, we picked up a kicker.
I think he was mentioned on our Facebook.
We've got good internationals.
Your offensive style is something that you've become known for. Your air raid offense, and we've talked about that. We've mentioned that already. What are some of the earmarks? If somebody doesn't really know what they're looking for, what would you tell them to look for that is – because it is permeated all the way through football. We see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
The mesh across the field is something that was developed as part of the air raid, but everybody does it now.
Around these parts, if you ever watched Texas Tech when Mike Leach was there, you saw it, or Cliff Kingsbury. That's basically the air raid, and in this part of the world, most everybody identifies it through them. And we're just going to throw the ball, and we're going to make people cover the whole field and from the whole width and the whole length, and we're going to throw it first and run it second. Doesn't mean we're not going to run it though, and we try to get it to people that can make yards in space, and that's the whole was the whole genesis of the thing. And we try to play as fast as we can. There's very few huddles.
Speed.
Yeah.
Coach Leach was one of those that loved to set the offensive line as far out as he could.
Yeah.
With as much as a yard, 2 yards, sometimes 3 yards between offensive linemen. Is that something you're gonna develop? Is that wide stance on the offensive line?
Yeah, we'll have wide splits. Mike, when he worked for me for 10 years, and Mike developed all the offensive line techniques in the air raid because he was my O-line. He and I at Iowa Wesleyan, we kind of did it together. He was the O-line coach, and I coached the quarterbacks and receivers. And then when we went to Valdosta State in Kentucky, we had more coaches, and so they added to the thing as well. But yeah, wide splits is a big deal. 3 yards is a little bit of an exaggeration, but Mike got to the point where he had them so wide that it became a detriment. So he started reeling them back in later in his career.
Why is it important, or what does it do for you? How does it help your offense to have? Because it's one of the only offensive systems that sets up the offensive line the way you do, not down necessarily in a 3-point stance, spread out a little wider across the field. These are things that have begun to get adapted into everybody else's game, but not the way you guys run it. Why is it important?
Well, we always get credit for inventing it, but I didn't really invent it. I just blatantly stole it from BYU back in the 80s. And then Lavelle Edwards and those guys started it. Roger French was the O-line coach here, and he taught Mike Leach and myself a whole bunch of stuff. And the way it started out was he had really smart players at BYU because they have older kids because of the Mormon missions and stuff. And so they would go to Roger and like the left tackle would say, "Hey, coach, if we're running something to the right, can I just split this guy out like 3 more feet and just get him out there in space and then just isolate him?" And Roger would say, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." And so then it got so the whole offensive line was doing it on certain plays. And so that's where we learned how to do it, and that's what we do.
Is the idea with the offensive line set like that is you're almost dictating to the defense. They're going to have to show you where they're coming, because you're covering so much of the field. They can't play one offensive lineman off the other and do a twist as easily, because a twist is going to take them an extra 2 or 3 seconds to get back around to where they want to come in.
That's what's going to be. You took my answer away from me. That's a great one.
Okay.
If you watch in the playoffs this year in college football, when Ohio State's D-line kind of dominated people last couple of games, and they were so athletic and they could move, but those people, they had pretty short splits. And so, you play like that all season, and you come up against us, and all of a sudden our splits are 3 and 4 feet. And so your choreography doesn't work out. And so it takes them out of that. And then it isolates the lineman. And this is what's great about teaching these guys for the NFL. That you have to be good one-on-one in pass pro. If you can't do that, you can't make a team. And so this shows the scouts, when they look at the film, they can look at that left guard, and he's split out 3 feet from the center, and he's working on a 3 technique, who's really athletic, and he can dominate him. Well, that shows what their ability is, and it's a lot easier for him to sign a guy like that than somebody who's just playing shoe to shoe, and it's all just kind of a zone blocking scheme, because that doesn't really show off their ability very much.
One of the big things about I'm sorry, I've read the book. I'm connected with the Perfect Pass, S. Gwynn's book about your offensive system. One of the things that's so important. Go ahead.
SC's a great writer. If you read any other works, he's a great historian.
The mesh across the middle of the field is such an important part of the offense. What is the difference, Coach, or is there, between a mesh and a pick? Like, at what point does it become just like a pick?
We've been called for it like maybe 5 times in my whole career, but we never try to do that. We try to avoid the defense, but we are going to run hell bent for leather about 6 yards up the field and do this. And then they read the coverage from there. If it's zone, they sit down. If it's man, they climb, which I think that's kind of been our addition to that play through the years. It's been very successful. is teaching the guys. We have a drill where we teach them how to read zone or man on the fly, and it works out once you've repped it enough. It works out really beautifully.
Yeah.
I once called it 52 times in one game.
Wow.
We were 61 of 6 for the day.
It's all about the reps.
Yeah, and we call that one play 52 times. So it's one of those plays where Mike Leach and I used to tease each other. We go, well, we screwed up. Anytime we get in the red zone, if we just call that play 4 times in a row, we're guaranteed to score. And we were too stupid to not do it this week.
It's just like your free throws,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. We've got so much going across the middle of the field. If anybody on the defense loses their coverage, and you've got a quarterback that can spot that,
get it to him. Yeah.
You've got the opportunity.
The play works out because the quarterbacks have to be in sync with his feet. And if they are, then he's going to go through his progression. And by the time he looks at the mesh, it's already happened. And so he's either throwing a ball kind of like down the field where the guy's climbed against man coverage, or he's throwing a ball like that, which is right at the guy because he's sat down in zone. But it's really a beautiful play. Sam did a great job describing it for everybody who's interested.
Yeah.
Are there any stipulations on like the players for your team? Like you need so many veterans or so many rookies for the team?
No, not really. We want to have a good, like we've got a quarterback coming in that's 31 and has some really significant pro experiences, started in Canada and stuff like that. Will Arndt is his name. He's also an actor. If you watch the Netflix series about Aaron Hernandez, he played Tom Brady in that. But he's a good quarterback in his own right. I'm not going to say he's the starter right off. They got to come to camp and earn it, but he does have a lot of experience, so that helps because the rest of our quarterback room is pretty young.
You have I believe the league has a draft coming up, don't they? In April sometime.
It's March 21st and 22nd. We're going to have 5 rounds. I think 2 or 3 of them are going to be for international players. And Stan Bedwell is going to handle that for us in Huntsville.
What is the draft pool? Where are you pulling the talent from?
Well, we spent 2 years compiling a list of both international players and American players. So they've narrowed that list down to probably several hundred candidates, and everybody has got film. They're studying them, and they know who they want to take. And so it's not going to be as complicated a draft as, say, the NFL or something like that. But it does get us started, and some of the teams need to fill in some holes, so it'll be helpful for that.
We have a question coming from Facebook. Van Hurst is asking, when is staff going to start wearing team apparel in social media posts? We're all fans that want to see team apparel start popping up because we know that means it's coming our way soon.
Swag.
I got hit by my staff about that today, but we're having the gear designed, and it's going to be up on our website for purchase soon. And as soon as it is, we'll purchase some for our staff, and we'll start wearing it everywhere.
You'll see me around town passing out some goodies.
There you go.
Nice.
And I'll make sure I'll bring y'all a visit.
Yeah, we need to get y'all sizes. Everybody's hit us up about that. But when you're starting something from scratch, it's hey, it takes.
Take it slow.
It always
Take
takes
it slow.
Yeah. But it is coming up pretty quick. In fact, we had a meeting on it today, and some pretty cool designs. I was pleased with them.
They asked them about they have the gunslingers have their thing.
Oh yeah.
And I thought we could do a tip the hat thing for gentlemen, since it's gentlemen,
I'm going to let y'all worry about that part.
You bet.
Okay.
But it's
Coach.
The fans came up with a name, so the fans should come up with a sign.
Yeah, absolutely. This guy right here, actually, is the one that came up with that name. So, Coach, to that end, are you worried at all about maybe an oversaturation of football in the spring and summer here in San Antonio? You've got the Brahmas over in the UFL. You've got the Gunslingers in the indoor football league. now you guys are going to step into this international. They're all different, and they all do different things, and I understand that, and you understand that.
Right.
But when you start working on, a set number of football fans that are going to come to spring football, because there's some that just won't. They just decide that's not real football. Are you worried about that at all?
No, not really. I think there's enough people that'll enjoy what they see. We just got to get them out there one or two times. And this league is needed for the players more than anything else. Our whole league is geared around the players, because when a young man comes out of college, has one shot in the NFL, or maybe doesn't quite get a shot in the NFL, goes to mini camp and gets cut.
Sure.
There's no place for him to play. And I like the gunslingers, and I like arena football. I've always liked it, but it does not translate to the NFL. One of my good friends, John Peterson, is a San Antonio guy here. He's going to help us some, and he's a longtime NFL scout. I asked him the other day, I said, when you were doing all that scouting for NFL teams, how many times did you look at arena ball? And he said, never. So the game just doesn't translate. You're playing on half the field. It's always man coverage, and you're only playing with seven bodies. For the old linemen, it's just Oklahoma drill up and down the field.
Well, I can tell you one reason why we're better is because it's Hal Mumme.
There you go.
Prejudice there. But I think our season actually starts the last week the Brahmas are playing. So I think there'll be some people that want to see the Brahmas, and that's fine. And there'll be some people that like turn out for us. I know our game atmosphere is going to be geared to the fans, and we're going to be here all the time promoting it. And the USFL, that's just not their philosophy. They're strictly a made-for-TV outfit.
They train it.
They rehearse and train in Dallas all week, and
so they don't get to go out and about and meet and greet like I want to do with y'all.
But
are you?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of training, you guys are going to be training here in San Antonio. Are you going to have any open practices for the public to come before the season?
We're going to train it beginning at May 15th. The first practice is at Somerset High School down there where my friend Coy Detmer is the head coach and AD. His dad, Sonny, was a lifelong friend of mine too. And Ty, of course, his brother, was the Heisman Trophy winner at BYU. So there's a lot of connections with us and the Detmer family. But we're going to train down there for 10 days. We'll have about 15 workouts there, all open to the public. And we encourage y'all to come if you want to look. And then for the season, we're going to practice at Cornerstone, where another one of Daryl Hemphill's the AD there, and we love Cornerstone.
That's who I was trying to think of. Name. He met him. I mean, he didn't know who he was, and they saw each other in the hall. They're like, "Daryl, is that you?" And it had been how many years?
Oh, a long time. Yeah, a long time. But yeah, we got a good. We're going to have good areas to practice and be ready to go.
Can you touch a little bit about tailgating and the opportunities there?
Oh yeah, there's going to be food trucks, tailgating. Get people to join the Amigos. Amigos is a VIP tent where we'll have free drinks and food for people, and $60 for the entire year for all 4 games for 4 people. So if you do the math on that with, a pretty cheap ticket with some beers thrown in, you're pretty
and
good shape.
For the heat, we're going to have lots of tents, and I forgot to mention that earlier, but and misters, and we're going to make it worth your while.
Yeah, we're going to have music.
Sounds like fun already.
We're going to open the gates at 5, play at 7, and we'll have family-friendly stuff for everybody and a whole bunch of music and some places where you can have a drink or two.
Nice.
Very nice.
At the meet and greet, I might have been a couple drinks in, so I may be remembering this incorrectly. But Coach Mumme didn't.
I know. I said something like, "We're the cheerleaders, bitches." I'm like, okay, I said that.
What's your question? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Do I remember correctly? Oh, did we lose him, or did the camera just go black?
Might have lost him.
We might have lost him. Dang.
Let's see if they pop back on here for a second.
Yeah, and well, I'll ask him again when he comes on, but just to kind of give you guys a teaser of where I was headed. I think Coach Mumme said that he's good friends with Phil Collins, and they jokingly talk.
Phil Collins?
Yes. And they jokingly mentioned about having something with to get the fan involvement and everything, having Phil Collins in attendance or doing something with Phil Collins. And I said, an opening song of "In the Air Tonight" to get the crowd kind of pumped. I think that would be really kind of awesome. But
Theo, be honest, how many mules did you have at that point that you heard Phil Collins?
That's what I'm saying. I might be remembering totally off. I might have thought you said Phil Collins and he said, Bill Hollins or something.
There you go.
You don't think of Phil Collins as being like big time pump up music either, but you're right. Like "In the Air Tonight," the drum that just comes out there like it.
Yeah, because it's a night game.
Do it
in
thing
the air,
for you,
and just like it would. I'd get pumped up, But man, just before I was going to ask the question, we lost them.
We'll see if they pop back on. It all seems very interesting. I love the fact that we have a name like Hal Mumme attached to it, but I'm gonna have to see this thing in practice. I think all of us are kind of in wait and see sort of mode, and we'll see what happens. Like I don't think it's a bad thing that you have to show me at this point that this is gonna work out before I get fully behind it. We've been burned a couple of times. We've been burned one time that we all remember so well. Heck, I'm wearing the shirt today, the Command Post Podcast shirt from the Commanders days. So I'm weary. I'll be honest, and they're still on. They might even be able to hear me right now. I'm still weary of this whole thing.
I bet it was the cat.
Do what?
I bet it was a cat that knocked over the phone.
Well, we were weary. Yeah. We were weary of the at the time it was the XFL and the Brahmas when they came along, and we were weary of the gun. We were still are. Yeah, we were weary of the gunslingers when we had that first meeting. We had to have a meet in person and talk with the OG3 and the coaches at that time and kind of find out a little bit of what the vision was when they approached us, if we would, continue a show covering them. And we're for that. It's just, we know our fan base and we know what San Antonio is and the expectations and sometimes unrealistic expectations of the San Antonio fan base.
Can be, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot that comes with that. But that doesn't mean we're not excited,
No, yeah,
definitely would be excited about something and having met with Coach Mumme and Miss Jacqueline at that meet and greet and kind of got to hear a little bit about their vision and talk to specifically players. And there wasn't just one or two, there were several that were just really excited. Of course you're going to be excited, opportunity to put film together and compete in a professional organization in front of a city and the fan base and some of those were familiar with San Antonio. Many of them were very familiar with the area. Some had played for the Gunslingers or been brought in by the Gunslingers and then not necessarily made the team for whatever reason. And others, were from the area when they played college. And so there were a lot of guys that were excited about being able to play and being able to play here because they had roots. And that's something I think that the San Antonio fan base can really get behind is these players and, this organization and Coach Mumme and Jacqueline that are really invested in the city of San Antonio. Yay! And what that brings to the organization. And they're back with us.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we can. We lost you there for a second. Leo had a question. Leo had a question about something he thought he heard.
Yeah, go ahead. Buddy.
Yeah, like I said, I think I heard correctly, but that maybe you've got a good you've got a friendship, personal relationship with one Phil Collins.
I wouldn't call it that. It's more like I've met him a couple of times. But when I was at this goes back, and I just did a speaking engagement last week for Schreiner University for Dr. Don Frazier, who's the head of the history department there. And they've got that whole group was at McMurray when I was the head coach there. And so one day he called me up and he said, I need you to come to this dinner party. And I said, okay, what am I doing? He goes, you're going to be the second string celebrity. I said, okay, well, who's going to be the first string celebrity? And he goes, well, don't tell anybody, but it's Phil Collins, the singer. I said, really? What's he coming for? He goes, he has the largest collection of Alamo and Texas Revolution artifacts, privately owned, in the world. I said, well, that's cool, because I love history, and that's why I was friends with Dr. Frazier to begin with. And so we went, and they put me on one end of the table, and they put all the husbands who didn't care about Texas history, wanted to talk about Texas Tech and Mike Leach, and wanted to hear Leach stories on one end. And then on the other end, they put all the people that were interested in music and history, and Phil entertained them. So then about a year and a half, 2 years later, he came out with his book. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called Beyond the Alamo. It's like a coffee table picture book of all his artifacts, and Phil actually writes the story for each artifact. And he's got some great things. He's got Davy Crockett's vest.
And the David Bowie knife. That's the first present I bought. Hal, I got him his first Bowie knife.
Yeah, but it was.
But he signed it in the air tonight, and so that's what made me think, y'all, we need to have him at our first home game.
Well, we'd love to do that, but he's not in very good health right now. And but he is coming at some point, I think in 26, to dedicate the new museum behind the Alamo. So we'll try and reach out to him. But
very cool.
It was kind of a big deal. After they did the book, I went back to the signing, and I looked at him. I said, "You realize you have a song that's played at every high school football game in the state of Texas every week?" He looked at me. He had no clue.
Hold on just a second.
He had no idea. But In the Air Tonight was so
popular.
popular.
Tell about Davy Crockett.
Yeah, he was Phil is about a little bit older than me. I think he's about all right, and I'm in my age range. And I said, "How did you get so interested?" And he said, "When I was a little kid, I watched the BBC and I watched the Disney Davy Crockett stuff." Oh, she's got my there's an article ESPN wrote in 2014 about air raid, and they found out about this whole Davy Crockett, Phil Cobb, the whole deal, So they dressed me up like Davy Crockett and took my picture in front of the Alamo.
If you've ever seen the movie with Billy Bob, I had the idea to invite Billy Bob.
But Billy Bob was actually coached by one of the professors at McMurray on how to be Davy Crockett. And I asked him in the 2004 movie, and I asked him, I said, "How did he do it?" He goes, "He channeled him." And so it was a pretty cool deal.
James Palmer on Facebook says, "Did I hear that right? $60 for 4 tickets for 4 games?"
No, it was $360 for 4 tickets for 4 games and free drinks. Free drinks.
There you go.
Now there's other ways to get cheaper tickets. I mean, if he wants to, he probably could buy 4 tickets for $60. Yeah.
Okay.
But they'll all be up on our website soon. We're using a group called Hometown Ticket. You can go to that, or you'll be able to go to our website and link onto it. Early March, they're going to go on sale, and there's all kinds of ways to come to the games, and they're very, very, very pocket and family friendly to come to our games.
Van Hurst on Facebook wants to ask a little bit about streaming. He said right now we'll be streaming games, but he hasn't been able to clarify yet. Are they going to be streaming games live, or are those going to be tape delay? How are they planning on doing
they're going to be live.
You'll
be able to get it on broadcast TV. We've got 100 million broadcast TV.
I made channel, and I told them Tubi was one of them.
Yeah, Tubi, Roku, Lights Out Sports, all the platforms. You'll be able to get them on that live. And then some of them, we have our owner, Jason Adams, has done a great job just piecing together cable companies from all over the U.S. to where we have 100 million TV sets.
Okay.
That's huge.
Is there going to be
league? It's huge.
Is there going to be a streaming service or like a YouTube channel where you can catch games later on, maybe not live or review
Yeah,
Or-
I think Lights Out Sports going to do all that. That's
Okay.
Sean Merriman's outfit, and they're going to do coaches shows and all kinds of stuff with our league.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Who's your marketing
would you
director
want-
right now that you're working with?
Brian Billick, he was at the first meet and greet, and really knows San Antonio. Does a great job.
He's been doing a great job.
Yeah.
I think he was involved all the way back in the Alliance of American Football days. I think that was a name that we saw around here back then.
Yeah, he's been around. He's done a lot of marketing in San Antonio and Austin, and he really knows the area and is a great resource for us.
It's good that he's local here in San Antonio.
Yes.
So you
Well,
guys
if
have been in. Sorry, just speaking on that San Antonio. You guys have been in San Antonio for a couple of months now, at least. What's your feel of San Antonio and the culture here so far? Like, what are you guys most excited about?
Well, I was born here and I kind of grew up here, so this is a big deal for me. Jacqueline, I think, is getting adjusted to it, but she loves it.
I love all the
Speak for
people.
yourself.
I love how everybody's so upbeat and they're really sincere. They look you in the eyes, and you don't see that in other towns. In Mississippi, we're supposed to be the hospitality state, but I think y'all got to beat.
Oh,
What would you say to?
It's been great.
What would you say to folks that just say, this sounds like semi-pro football to them, or this sounds like something they don't want to get involved in because it seems like a small thing. What's your response? Because you're going to have some of that. You're going to have some folks that go, it's not the NFL. I'm not watching. I don't care.
A lot of our players have been in the NFL. A lot of players are going to be in the NFL. And so I would tell them to Google search Jalen Moody, all SEC linebacker from Alabama, had over 200 tackles in his career, got drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, played for the Bengals for a year, tore his labrum, and this is what this league's for, exactly. Guys like that, if they don't heal up fast enough, they let them go. Then where do they go? Because the next wave of All-American linebackers is coming out. And so they have nowhere to go. So his choice was go to Canada and Montreal or come here and play for us. If he goes to Canada, he's got to play 18 to 20 games, and it takes away an entire NFL season. If he comes and plays for us, we play 8 games, and you're done before the NFL camps are over with, and you have a chance to be signed. When I coached in the spring league, we had 38 players, and we put 17 of them in either the NFL or the CFL. So that's what this is about. You got to think of us as AA baseball. If you're a baseball fan, you don't want to watch AA baseball, don't come see us. But if you're a football fan and you want to see developmental guys that are going to the NFL, that is not semi-pro. We're paying these guys, and they're coming here because they want to get film and they want to play good. And the great thing about the spring league, Jerry Glanville was in it with me, and he told me when I got in, he said, you're going to see the hardest hits and some of the greatest plays you've ever seen in this league, because these guys, all they want to do is try and get on film. And so it's going to be a great game to watch, and they're going to be very talented players. And most of the semi-pro guys that you're talking about, they come to our tryouts and we never sign them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the movie Moneyball?
Yes.
The way they did that's kind of his strategy in football. He gives people a chance that really maybe some recruiters didn't notice them. But if you go off numbers, the numbers say everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you have guys in the NFL Hall of Fame that did not make it on their first try. Guys like Sam Mills, he's the one that I always go back to that was too small to play in the NFL, and so he goes and plays in the USFL for a few years, winds up back in the NFL. Now he is a statue in front of Carolina Stadium, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So
you can go back through the history of the game. There's always been these deals. Johnny Unitas was like that. He played for a Continental Football League one season before he got signed by the Colts. Got let go by the Pittsburgh Steelers, told him he couldn't play, so he went and played in the Continental League. came back, got signed by the Colts, and became a Hall of Fame player. I mean, you can go through history, the whole history of the game. I can name. If I went down the
Jared
list,
Lorenzen was one of them at Kentucky.
Yeah, same deal.
God bless him.
It's just they just need a place, and what happens is with this happens with most of the guys that get drafted. They're not in the right place at the right time. They get cut, and now they're on the back burner because the next group's coming through. The scouts get overwhelmed with trying to look at guys, and you need a place for them to play. Baseball does it well because they have AA and AAA baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Football has never been very good at it.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to be good at it.
Yep.
What
Well,
team
Texas.
are you most looking forward to playing against?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What team are you most excited to play against?
Well, I think Texas up the road, they've decided base in Georgetown, so it's going to be an hour and 45 minutes away. So the fan bases, I think, will all know each other. It'll be a lot of fun. And we play them the first home game, and then we play them in I think the first or second game after the break in July at their place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the good thing about
go ahead.
I was just going to say on Coach Mumme's point, the good thing about Texas is that, having that talent, if you make it fun and affordable, Texas loves their football. So people will show up.
I'm not worried about us. I'm more worried about, Ohio Valley or something.
and that's the thing. Phillip and I have had discussions offline where it's like the success of this league is not going to be just dependent on the Pioneros and the Caballeros, but on the Tornadoes and the Beavers and all these other teams. That's kind of like the league has to be successful as a whole.
We got to play well. We got to organize the games well, and we have to look good on TV. Mm-hmm. But we've already got people reaching out. Like last week, they named one of the expansion franchises for 26 is going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah, we saw that.
We'll expand. We'll probably expand two teams on each side next year. But we got to get through the initial first year and do it and do a good job. And we know that, and it's just the way it's our job.
Any on expand? It's way too early to really talk much about expansion, but I am curious because at the onset of this, very early on, there were a list of some teams, and like there was the Guadalajara Tequileros, which I thought was an amazing name. Is there talk of more teams in Mexico? I know we have Chihuahua this season.
I think they're going to have to climb over a high bar, and Chihuahua has. And the original plan 3 years ago almost was to have most of the franchises in Mexico and only a couple here in the States. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I love being down there. I love being around the Mexican people, and I've made multiple trips. But they love the game of football, but they don't understand the business of football. Mm. And so the people in Chihuahua did, so that's the team we picked out. And the rest of them are all playing in their Mexican Pro League, LFA or whatever they call it. Mm. But it's more like semi-pro.
Gotcha.
A few weeks ago,
hire the coaches in April, and then they play in May, and they get some guy from the gas station down the street to coach the secondary. That was not our idea.
Not necessarily
of how to play. And Chihuahua is on board. They have a great franchise. Mauricio does a great job. Valderramas does a great job down there, and they draw about $20,000 games. They've been playing in those leagues, and they just got while they're playing in ours. Now, if somebody else down there wants to do it, and they want to do what Mauricio's doing, I'm sure we would be interested in talking to them.
A few weeks ago, there was a flood of things on social media, unfortunately not positive, about the IFA as Baltimore kind of exited early.
The bottom line is we had to kick them out. There's certain timelines you have to meet. You have to pay your bills. You have to pay your coaching staff. You have to pay your players, and they weren't doing any of that. So we got to the point where, we got 4 months till the season starts, and these guys are going to do it. We don't want this to blow up on us in July. So we had to eliminate them. And then the guy that that wasn't paying anything is the guy putting out all the social media stuff about I'm suing people and I'm doing this and that. But you know, that's all just sour grapes, and it's happened before. So you just got to get past it. I always go back. I'm old enough to remember when they started the AFL with Lamar Hunt and Al Davis, and they had franchises like the New York Titans. Anybody ever heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not. There's going to be some franchises where you just got to tell them, look, you guys aren't playing with the big boys, and you got to do it. It's like starting any other startup business.
Right. What would you say?
If any of the other teams have a podcast?
I'm sorry, what, RC?
Do you know if any of the other teams have a podcast?
Yeah, I think most all of them do. I can put you in touch with them.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good to interview some of those guys. CJ Drinkard at Alabama does a great job promoting. Manny Matsakis at Ohio Valley is really a go-getter. He's like me. He's the majority owner and the head coach, and really is doing a bang-up job. Ohio Valley is really a football-rich area, and I think he'll do well there. But yeah, sure, we can put you in touch with him.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time. Jacqueline, you too. We've had a great time talking with you, and hope to continue a relationship where we can connect with you and learn more and more about this as we head into summer, and then get kicked off in May and get started on some more football.
Yeah, well, we look forward to it.
We look forward to meeting
everybody. We're here for you anytime, okay? RC, really appreciate you.
Call me, Jackie, and we can do something. We can hang out.
Let's do it. Call me.
All right.
Call me anytime. I don't have anything to do here except for football.
All right. Open invitation.
Yeah, there you go.
All
Thanks,
right.
fellas. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Hal Mumme and Jacqueline Mumme. They are not just head coach, but owners of the Alliance, the International Football Alliance team here in San Antonio, the San Antonio Caballeros. Leo, you and I were talking a little earlier today, and I've been worried. And you said, I sure hope you get a different feeling after you've talked with Hal Mumme. I'm excited. I'm still wary because it's just been burned. And I feel like there are things that concern me around the way this has all gotten started up to this point. But if I'm really honest, there were things back in the first season of the Gunslingers that really concerned me. And now we're 5 seasons into that. So about to start our 5th season of that. So who knows? It's more football in San Antonio, and it's fan-centric football in San Antonio. I heard them say that. I know you heard them say that. And I think of the 3 teams we cover, we've definitely noticed the difference between the ones that pay attention to the fans and the ones that simply give fans lip service and say, hey, we really love you, and send out a letter to the fans on Valentine's Day talking about how much they love their fans, that every other team sends out to their fans too. I don't know if you caught that. I don't know if you noticed that on social media, but one of our teams sent out a great little love letter to the fans. Houston sent one out. Arlington sent one out. They all look sort of similar. That does not make me feel valued or loved as a fan as much as you thought it did. I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Nope. Yeah, it's been a interesting off season. But the season's about to start. Things are gonna get rolling and moving, and we'll get moving more too, because we're right now bi-weekly and
right.
We've done some other things and kind of been focused on other things, taking a break. So, there could well be some things that we haven't noticed or missed, or, and we're going to be paying a lot closer attention now. But the things that we did see and notice, and, some of it hasn't been all great,
So let's talk a little bit about the Brahmas on the field real quickly, because there's a couple of things that I've noted that I haven't even brought up to you yet because I wanted a genuine reaction. I noticed that they have announced their running back stable, and on the top of that is one John Lovett.
Nice. Yeah.
We love
Very excited about John Lovett. He was one of my favorite parts of last year. We had the conversation back and forth about who was better, Lovett or help me out here, Leo. What was the other running back? He's not on the list.
No, he's not coming back. The guy that was with Pittsburgh, and yeah, I'm bad with names. He put me on the spot here.
I just remember Lovett.
No, well, Lovett was great, but I'll have to look him up. You know,
You have to dust off the cobwebs.
Yeah.
I mean,
I told you we haven't
been a whole season.
It's been an off season for sure. Well, they've got the online roster updated like they should. Oh, I found something here that will definitely tell us. Anthony McFarland Jr.
There you go.
There you go.
Anthony McFarland. That was the guy.
He was kind of like reminded some people of the Skittles
right.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Seattle running back that retired. My mind is not working for me right now.
Just fried, huh?
Yeah.
But John Lovett coming back is good. Like I love the idea of number 7 being back there. I don't recognize I don't recognize necessarily any of these other names. Deshaun Corbin, Haslin Hall, LaDamian Webb. But I know that name, John Lovett, and that is enough for me to go, all right, okay, I'm engaged. I'm engaged with that.
Yep. That's definitely
James
a name
Pollard.
that
Brad, isn't Brad coming back, the kicker or punter or something?
Oh, I don't know about that. The other thing that I noted the other day was the quarterback room. The quarterback room included Kellen Mond, which was kind of the big deal. Former A&M quarterback.
That is
Kellen
a big
Mond. Deal. That's very exciting. But there were 3 people I didn't recognize one of the names. It was Kellen Mond, and the other one was Kevin Hogan. Yep. The mustache. The guy
is back.
That saved the season last year. When he came in and just got us over that guy is coming back. He's going to be in the quarterback room again this year. That's exciting.
It is. It is.
I'm excited about Kellen Mond.
I have to say I'm excited about Kellen Mond because, he's got a lot of talent. Definitely an NFL caliber talent. He made some, had people thinking some great things about him when he got drafted a couple of years ago in the NFL. Things didn't quite work out for him, but he's definitely a talented quarterback. So they've got anytime Wade Phillips and the coaching staff that he's got, they're gonna draw some talent. So the Brahmas are gonna have some players. We got to remember the Brahmas aren't the team from 2 years ago. This really, in essence, is the Houston team from 2 years ago, just moved over to San Antonio. I think your first year here in San Antonio, Wade Phillips kind of made a statement to the fan base on what to expect, and I think it'll be better, even better this year. Now they're gonna get to the championship game. I hope so. I think they're going to be one of the top contenders. But I don't have doubts about the level of talent the Brahmas team is going to field. I think that they're going to have some talent and they're going to be well coached. I think we can all agree on that.
conference champions last year, went to the championship game and would have been champions if the quarterback had decided to do anything.
I don't even want to talk about that anymore. Yeah. Oh, yes.
James Palmer says it. A better effort from your quarterback, you win the ship last season. It's true.
Maybe
it's true. We didn't, and he didn't. So, and we don't have to worry about that. That's not an issue anymore. I guess the thing that bothered me most about that is we were all so on board with him and so excited about him and glad that he came back from injury and all of those things. If we'd have felt, if Quentin Dormady had done that, I'd have been like, wow, yeah, that's who that guy is. We thought Garbers was somebody else, and he turned out it wasn't. Whatever. We go into a new season. Kellen Mond, John Lovett, more names to come down the pike soon. Did you see, Leo, that they have leaked, all but announced that the championship game will be in St. Louis again this year?
I did not see that, but I am not surprised at all. I'm not surprised.
Well, sure. I mean, we have a home game in St. Louis this year. Why wouldn't they have the championship there? There's a San Antonio home game there this year.
It's already the city that has the most home games in the league, more than any other team.
No favoritism, though.
So, yeah, why not?
If we play for the championship, are we playing on our home field?
No.
But it was a home game. We played a home game there. It's our home field. We have 2 home fields.
That's maybe how they'll spin it. That's maybe how they'll spin it. It's a home game, yeah.
Single season tickets are going to be available soon, or are available now. I think they are available now for the UFL. You can buy your single game tickets if you want to. That's out there and available for you.
I got an email a couple days ago saying that they were going to be available first to season ticket holders. They're going to kind of get the first shot before they become available to the public. I don't know off the top of my head what that day is, when the cutoff is, but you're right. If it's not already available, it's very soon.
Yeah.
Leo, did you get your seats yet? Your tickets?
I do have my tickets. I renewed my seats, exact same spot as last season. I will say I'm going to reach out to see if there's, they have the section up above in the middle area where they have the includes the food, and they have their own private restrooms up there, and it's like it's centered on the field, and
suite?
It's like in the balcony area up there. It's not really a suite because there's multiple. You're not like separated from other fans or your own little group, but I forget what they call that. But I was going to ask about what the difference would be in upgrading, since it is only 4 games. It might not be that much, and then this late in the season, and then. Something I'm thinking about, and this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing, UFL. This is not a good thing, Brahmas. But one of the reasons why I am considering this move, RC, is because part of the fun of the games was the tailgating experience. And that's also why I declined this offer when I first got it. And the other people that I sit with declined it because part of the draw was, hey, free food. I hear the burgers are good, anyways, but you get free food at every game. But I was like, what do I want free food for when I'm going to be full from having a great time and a blast outside in the tailgate before the game? I'm going to be full already. I don't need that hamburger or pizza or whatever it is you have up there, which I've heard the food is good, like I said, but now I'm considering it because guess what? I don't think I'm going to be tailgating.
Right.
Because there's not really any tailgating opportunities.
So they're Friday night game starts at 7.
Yeah. So, at least far fewer tailgating opportunities, and when they are, they're a lot shorter. than what we're used to. So yeah, maybe I do want to eat in the game and skip the tailgate altogether because there's not going to be much of one. I don't think. I don't know, but it has me thinking, and that's not a good thing. It's not. I'm sorry.
Leo thinking is never a good thing.
No,
That's
that
not
too.
Well, Jerry and I, we moved closer to the 50-yard line. So we won't have you cheering in our ears. I'm so sad about that.
Oh, okay. You're not gonna be in front of us. Yeah. No, sorry. Well, I can be loud, so not I can be loud. I am loud. I am loud at football games. I am. That's just who I am. I cheer for my team, even though I may not be standing up because I've got bad knees and bad ankles and bad feet and stuff like that. But some people say that you're not a true football fan unless you're standing the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, please.
No, whatever.
First game
what
on the
about
schedule.
you? Have you thought about tickets?
Do what?
Have you thought about tickets?
Yeah, I thought about them, and I thought, you know what? I'll buy tickets individually for games that I'm able to make it to, but I'm not doing. I rarely do season tickets anyway because of the distance and weekends are always busy for me. I do what I can do to get up there for gunslinger games. It's a little much to do both. The Brahma's schedule starts on May 29th. That is my grandson's birthday. Happy birthday, Caleb. But they'll be up in Arlington for that game. They do not play a home game. I'm sorry. Let me clarify. They don't play a home game in San Antonio because you have to make sure you clarify because it might be a home game in St. Louis. They do not play a home game in San Antonio until April 27th.
4 weeks.
4 weeks after the season starts when they play Houston right here in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome, 2 p.m. Central Time. And I believe that's the same day as is there a gunslinger game that day too?
No. The 27th, that's Brahmas versus Houston. That's it. The Gunslingers play the 26th.
Yeah, that's right. They play the night before.
Yeah, versus Vegas. I have everything on my calendar. Mm-hmm.
As do I. I've even got Caballeros games on there.
Yep.
There you go.
So that'd be a great weekend of football.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can go watch the Gunslingers beat the Nighthawks. Go home. Get up the next day and go to church in the morning. And then after church, rush over to the Alamo Dome and take in the Houston game. The Roughnecks come into town.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
James Palmer says Gunslingers, if I recall, go almost a month without a home game as well. That's correct.
Yeah, they
right
do.
at the beginning of the season. Yep.
But their first game, their opening game, is at home.
It is March 22nd, a week before the UFL kicks off. The IFL kicks off with the San Antonio Gunslingers welcoming in the Tulsa Drillers. And I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm ready to be back in the Freeman Coliseum. I'm ready to be back behind the mic, although my voice doesn't sound like I'm ready for that yet. I'm ready for some gunslinger football. We had Coach on last week or 2 weeks ago. That was great. Great time with him. I'm excited. I'm ready for gunslinger football. I think with the lessons we learned last year, there's no reason not to believe that they can go all the way this year. There's no guarantee they will, but they can. Like they have the information they need at this point to go all the way.
They should be a front runner.
Yeah.
Really, the biggest question mark outside of San Antonio, if you ask Coach, there is no question mark. But outside of San Antonio, the biggest question mark is going to be the quarterback position, which is a pretty dang big question mark for, the rest of the league. But, I gotta believe in what we've seen and what we have going here in San Antonio and with this Gunslingers organization. And there's no doubt that this organization can attract the top talent in the IFL. And there's been some signings, and there's been some players coming through or being announced that are some names. So I would think that the Gunslingers are going to open the season as they're not going to be picked last. Like I think they were picked last going into the season last year by some of the pundits. So I don't see that happening this year for sure.
I think we had a target on our back last year because we were the rookies.
Yeah, and we were the rookies we were the loudest rookies for sure.
Yes, we were.
Like we talked the talk going into the season.
For sure. You don't ever want to say like I know that we're going to win. I think last year we made a mess a little bit with some of that. But on the other side of that, like it feels like we've got a lot of things working together this year,
Yeah, I'm excited.
Can I say I'm more excited about the Gunslingers than I am for the Brahmas?
That's a fair statement. I mean,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game experience. Both are fun. I have a lot of fun at Brahmas games. I have a lot of fun at Gunslingers games. The Gunslingers are adding to the experience on a regular basis, season by season. They're adding to what they've already given the fan base.
Right.
That's not what the Brahmas are doing, or it doesn't feel that way anyways.
Oh.
We'll see how it is when the season starts, but it doesn't feel like that.
Well, we're quite literally losing a home game.
We're losing a game. Yeah.
And you can make all the excuses you want to for that. The NCAA tournament's going to be here in April. That's a big deal. That's a big thing to contend with. I understand all of those excuses, but you had other options than moving a home game up to St. Louis. And we beat this, and it's not going to change just because we gripe and complain about it. But you could have done some other things to say, hey, we're really sorry we don't have 5 games there, but we're going to give you a home game in Houston, and we want you to travel out there, or Arlington. They didn't do that. They decided to go with St. Louis, against St. Louis. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand that decision.
I feel like the connection is not genuine with the Brahmas compared to the Gunslingers.
I really was frustrated with the love letter to fans that went out on Valentine's Day weekend from the San Antonio Brahmas. It felt very, very fake. And maybe that's not fair. Like, they tried. They did something. They could have done nothing. And so maybe I need to give them a pass. But it just felt like lip service. Like, we love our fans so much. Okay. Show me. Show me that you love your fans so much. Do some things for the fans. And it's not, I don't know. It doesn't feel like they do that. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm sure folks that are all sold, all in on the UFL and the Brahmas would tell me I'm missing it. I'm missing something that's going on, and I could be. I may be being unfair. Alex McSwain, speaking of the Gunslingers, their jersey this year will be Reebok, Adidas. What will they look like? I believe they're Adidas. I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know that
so.
we know what they look like yet. Mission's highlighter, I think, hits it right on the head. It's probably because the Gunslingers are owned by locals, but the Brahmas are still league owned. I can
Yeah.
remember one of the big things that we liked about the Gunslingers organization when we started this show 5 years ago, or 5 seasons ago, was that they were local ownership. You didn't have somebody that was coming in and trying to install something. You had local ownership that would be here in San Antonio and connected with the thing.
And the practice field is here.
Yeah, it is. I drove by there the other day. I was in San Antonio for some work meetings, and I happened to drive by on 410. Drove by Gunslinger Nation. Looks so good. It looks so good just sitting there next to 410.
Mm-hmm.
Very neat. James Palmer, hard to be genuine when you're not truly in San Antonio for practices and stuff. There's something to that. I mean, when they're just coming in for games and then they're turning around and leaving, they can't really build a relationship with the community. There's something to be said for that. I realize it's a cost saving thing, and I
Yeah.
want the league to be successful. And so, if that's what they need to do to save costs and run multiple seasons, maybe that's what needs to happen. But you're right; it does make things a little more difficult.
Well, on that note, the Brahma Mamas, and I apologize for my voice. The Brahma Mamas, we're going to start getting together. We're going to start having some meet and greet so we can start talking about what we can do. Because I think it's not just us, I think it's across the board. People just don't seem excited. And so a lot of times we're quick to point the finger. And I want to be the person to say, well, I did this. I tried this. I tried to bring the
Mm-hmm.
community. I tried making the connection. I tried being genuine. If I fail, I fail, but at least I can say I tried and I did my part because I know not one team makes the league. We all have to help each team in order to ensure that this league will be successful.
Yep. You're not wrong, RC. It's got to come from the fans to show support ultimately. Um, it's just I understand, and I'm one of those fans that kind of took the things that have happened thus far this off season and was really disheartened by a lot of it. I'm sure things are going to get better once the games start up, and you get excited in the competition of football and backing our team. But I do agree with Philip where he's saying it's easier to do that year round and be more connected when the team is actually in your city and from your city and present there, more so than at least right now the UFL is able to. So some of that would definitely have offset some of these challenges, and some of these challenges probably would not have even been a thing, have even occurred because a locally based team would not have allowed that to happen.
Well,
You
and
would
even
think.
if those things happen, when you have a relationship built with your fans, and then
Mhm.
something doesn't work out, like an extra, you have to send a home game up to a different place because the Alamo Dome is booked. Look, the Alamo Dome's not going to say no to the NCAA tournament. We all understand what the issue is. I get it. But when something like that happens, if you've built credit with me as a fan, because I feel like you care about me as a fan, I give you a pass on that. I'm like, hey, not your fault, man. If something like that happened with the Gunslingers, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like, man, that's a bummer. Hopefully next year that's better. It wouldn't phase me at all. But when it happens with the Brahmas, I'm like, great, another thing, awesome. Another year of scheduling issues.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
feel like if they were more honest and genuine, saying, yeah, it sucks that our first 4 games are away. It sucks that our home game is in St. Louis, but we're going to do this. I haven't heard that. All I've heard is, oh, it's great, it's great, it's great. And that comes across as if you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I need honesty. I need you to be genuine. I need you to make that connection, and you're not making it at all.
A lot of these issues will go away once we actually start playing football. We'll get excited about it. I feel like we had the same sort of moment last offseason where we were all like, I don't know. That's a lot. We were just kind of in a malaise. But once football kicks off, it changes things. Should have moved that one home game in St. Louis to San Marcos, like the Riders did for beer sales. Hey, that could have worked, but it didn't. That's not what they did. It's not what they did. I don't know if this slipped by you, Leo. Speaking of the San Antonio Gunslingers, they had a signing that is kind of a big deal. A re-signing that was kind of a big deal last week. They re-signed wide receiver Naquan Murray.
Nice. That is a huge deal.
That's a big deal.
Yep.
Naquan Murray was one of those guys that Coach was just talking about 2 weeks ago of, hey, it's easy to be Sam Castronova when you've got guys like Naquan Murray catching your pass,
Yeah. And there's truth to that. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not correct. If you've got strong wide receivers, that's going to make your quarterback look that much better to have those weapons. So whoever it ends up being, of the group of guys that Coach has right now, and by the way, if you listen to that episode a couple of weeks ago, that he's very, very high on them. Then it's going to make their job that much easier, which is why I said outside of San Antonio, that's a huge question mark where here we kind of know a little bit better. Obviously, within the organization himself, Coach and everyone who's there and around practice, they know for certain. And we know because of what we've witnessed that you put those kind of weapons around a guy that has talent, it's going to make him look that much better. So will there be a drop-off at the quarterback position for the Gunslingers this year? Possibly. Sam Castronova was pretty great last year.
Yeah.
But is it going to be a huge drop-off with those weapons and that, he's certainly going to have the tools, whoever that guy is, to perform well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we may see a leveling out of the team. The quarterback play may not be Sam Castronova, offensive player of the year kind of level. It might be like whoever starts might be that good. But what if that comes down a little and everyone else on that offense, everyone else on the team rises up to meet that, to make that gap less? There were times last year, and I'm not calling any names out, that I felt like guys got down on the scoreboard or we started to lose control of a game that we had control of, and they all kind of turned to Sam and went, help, fix, do, make it happen, make it work, do your magic. And he did, because he's Sam Castronova. If that guy's not there for them to turn around and go, make, do, then they have to be the ones that make and do and create. And if you have seven guys that are willing to go out and start creating and doing, because they don't have that one guy they can turn to and go, oh, he's going to save us. It's okay. He's going to fix this. If instead they come into the game and they go, I've got to be the one to fix this. And you got 7 of those guys, that's, in a way, that could be better.
Yeah. Yep. And if the defense is improved, which it has to be, like it's got to be, not that I'm saying they were that bad last year. I'm saying for the Gunslingers to be successful this year, it has to improve from what it was last season. And I don't have any doubts that that's going to be that's going to be a thing this season. The defense is going to be better.
Defense across the league is going to look different.
Yeah.
We cannot fall into the trap of comparing whoever our starting quarterback is this season to Sam Castronova last year. They are almost playing in different leagues because the defensive rules have changed, and you're going to see less scoring. You're going to see more defensive play. It's going to happen. It's just it has been designed in such a way that scoring is going to come down, and that's not a bad thing. But don't ever we cannot fall into the trap of comparing Guy Myers to Sam Castronova year over year, because they're really going to be playing in very different situations. Very different situations. James Palmer positing that maybe the quarterback coach comes out of retirement. I think he's talking about Jonathan Bain, and I don't know. I don't think that's. I think coach is talking about the three guys he has on the roster, not anybody beyond that. And I think he's kind of set that one of those three guys is going to be a starter. Jonathan Bain being your quarterback coach, though, is awesome. Yes. He knows the game. And, I know he's a legend. I know he's an amazing guy, but something Coach Hal Mumme said tonight on our show rubbed me the wrong way when he talked about how nobody looks at the arena game for talent. They do so at their own detriment then, because there are talented guys playing the game on that level. And so if you're a scout and his scout buddy that he had talked to, I'd never look at arena football. Well, if you don't, you do so to your own detriment, because there are guys out there that can be successful up on the next level. Yes, the game is different, but some of those skills will translate. And I think some of the best scouts in the world see guys doing things that aren't football and go, ooh, that's a football player. The right coaching can make that guy a football player. So if go ahead.
Whoever it was in the scouting department or coaching department or whatever that got the St. Louis Rams to call Kurt Warner, if they had that outlook about arena football, you would never have had the greatest show on turf.
Right. Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Super Bowl winner.
And talent is important, but also coachability. You have to look at that aspect also. We know we've talked about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, Hal Mumme's a legend. I'm not going to tell him how to do his job. You don't think arena football is close enough and you don't want to look there for talent? Fine. I'm not here to tell you how to do your thing. But I will tell you that I think you do so at your own detriment. There are guys out there that can make a difference on every level of football that play arena football. And I wish they'd get more looks, not less looks.
Yeah. It's a different game for sure, but
it is. It clearly is. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some great athletes and a lot of talent in the indoor game.
Absolutely.
And we know some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 22nd is when things kick off in the Freeman Coliseum against the Tulsa Drillers. It can't get here fast enough. I realize that's only a month away. And I realize that Jordan and April and James and them, they may want more than whatever it is, 29 days or whatever we're looking at right now, 28 days.
You keep seeing Tulsa Drillers, but I think it's the Oilers, right?
Oh,
or am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay.
The Tulsa Drillers are the AA baseball team out of Tulsa, I think, is the Tulsa Drillers.
Yeah, I think that sounds right to me.
You're right. It's the Tulsa Oilers. There shouldn't be any Oilers but Houston and Edmonton, I guess. The Edmonton Oilers in the National Hockey League. But, yeah, you're right. Tulsa Oilers. Good call. I better not do that on the broadcast.
Yeah, no.
They play baseball. They play arena football. It's all the same thing. It's the same players. I'm ready to get it kicked off. I'm ready to get it started. I kind of I kind of can't wait. Like I was just up there a couple of days ago, drove by the Gunslinger Nation, and I just thought, man, here in about a month, I get to drive up here for a football game. I get to drive in along this same road on my way to Freeman Coliseum.
Yeah.
To watch the Gunslingers take on the Oilers or Drillers or whoever they're playing. I don't care who they're playing.
I'm
Hey,
excited.
Phillip, next time, let's all catch up and go out to dinner when you're in town.
I'm so quick in and out. I come in and I go straight to the stadium. I call the game, and then I usually got to be back on the road to get back. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can put that together. Almost reached out to you guys this week. I was up there Monday and Tuesday. Rodeo was going on. I almost reached out and said, hey, y'all want to go to the rodeo and check out the Gunslingers at the rodeo? But I couldn't make it all work. So
no. Yeah, well, next time we'll give us a call. I'm excited about the game experience. I'm excited to get back in the Freeman Coliseum. It gets loud and rowdy, and we have a lot of fun, especially down there in that end zone, party zone area.
Love it.
Where we're banging on the walls and lining up the deuces. But I'm excited just for all of that. I'm excited for the show they put together, and I'm excited to see the gear and all the swag and all the different ideas that Jordan comes up, because that's part of the excitement of what kind of swag or what kind of ideas are they going to come up with next.
You mentioned lining up the deuces. Let me ask you a question, Leo. Like, we're going from TC Stevens, an incredible kicker, to Kevin Didio Weber, an incredible kicker. Like, we've got another great kicker coming in this season. Would it be okay with you, though, if we didn't go for a deuce on every opportunity?
I mean, there are situations where, yes, but when you're making it at that high of a rate, you can understand why they're doing that. So,
well, and it's more advantageous now than it was last season because they've deleted that whole 25-yard rule after you get one shot at it. It's just always on the 20, which is still a lot of the field to give up. But returns in the IFL seem to be 20 yards or so anyway. I don't know that you're giving up a whole lot to give it on the 20.
Yeah, well, stops were few and far between last year, so it was kind of like you look at it one way or the other. You look at it like our defense isn't getting stops, so you're giving away half the field, which makes it that much harder on them. Or you look at it the same way. You could actually state it the same way, but mean it differently. Like, our defense isn't stopping anybody.
Right.
So what difference does it make giving up half the field anyway?
Exactly. It's a difference in them getting 25 yards worth of offense or 35 yards worth of offense. Who cares? They're going to get it either way.
But that'll be different this year, I believe. Honestly, I believe, yes.
It will be, with the changes in the rules and with Tom Manas being in charge of the defense and running the defense his way, which is not what he did last year. Last year, he took this very kind of CEO sort of a way of handling both offense and defense, and he just kind of managed the game while his coaches did their thing. This year, he told us 2 weeks ago, I am hands-on. I am the one designing and putting this defense together and calling this defense. So he's going to have his hands on the defense. I think with that and with the rule changes, we're going to see the defense catch up to the offense in a big way.
Yep.
It'll be a game changer.
It will be. Well, what else? That's almost it. We're almost out of time, which is incredible. I'm very glad that we got a chance to catch up with Hal Mumme. I've been looking forward to this for a while, and when we logged on tonight, and he said, "Oh, I can't really be on with you guys. Jackie's gonna handle it. Jacqueline's gonna handle it." I was kind of bummed. I was like, "Oh, but I wanted to talk to the legendary guy himself." I've been reading and listening to books, and like, I got questions for that guy. I'm very glad that he was able to take some time, spend some time with us. And I like Jacqueline. I like her passion and that she's excited about what's going on and that she's a partner in all of this. She looks like she's just as bought in as Hal is right now.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Like, no doubt about that. And I think that's awesome, just like you do. So, yeah, excited to get things going. Excited to get into the regular season and out of, the off season, the preseason modes where speculations, we can really start kind of get a clear picture of what these teams are doing and what to expect. Ourselves as a podcast, we're kind of in preseason mode where, like I said, we're just starting to kind of pay attention because we've been taking a break and doing some other things. And, so we're in preseason mode also. So like, we're going to be more focused and kind of get wheels turning. And there's something to be said for that too, which makes it more fun because we just get more focused. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm really looking forward to that game, that Gunslingers game experience. That's just,
yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely one of the best things in town. It's a lot of fun.
I made a hand gesture that I think is outdated. The youngsters may not understand that we used to hold the phone like this.
Phone.
Right? When I said, call me, what do young people do? This,
no,
call
like,
me?
Call me? Yeah, nobody has a
I think they
flip
still
phone
do
anymore.
that, but they won't know why. Like, they'll never know why this is a phone. Like, they don't, that's not what a phone looks like to them anymore. It's like the idea of hang up the phone. You need to hang up the phone. Why do we call it that? Why do we say that? Why do we say hang up the phone? Because you literally used to hang the phone.
That's true.
On the thing.
Yeah. At least you didn't. Doing the rotary phone never became a thing. A hand gesture like pulling the rotary and then, because that would, no one would get that now. James Palmer, no one calls anymore. They text.
Here's
Absolutely
the thing.
right.
It's 2024. To this day, if I need to talk to my daughter in a car next to me, I pull up and I go.
Yeah, roll the window down.
And that is outdated.
You know why? You know why you do this? Because nobody would know what you did if you did this. That doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah. You're down for what?
Yeah.
But
what does that mean? You roll down the window.
Yeah.
2025, James Palmer, you're right. It is 2025. I'm still stuck in last year. What can I say?
But look, phone versus text. Okay, I'm showing my age. I text. I receive texts. There's nothing wrong with texting. But dang it, pick up the phone and call me sometimes. I don't want to rely on my communication with you as a person, as a family member, as a loved one to be just through text. Especially if, like, I'm driving. I can't check your text. I don't look at texts while I'm driving. Yeah. I just don't do it. And so you text me, and, my commute home from work is 30 minutes, sometimes longer, depending on traffic. And I get home, and the first thing that's not the first thing I'm doing when I get off my car. Or I got to look at my phone to see what text I missed. No, I'm going to get home, get settled in, do it. I might not see your text for an hour and a half. I'm like, oh, crap. I got this text. Call me, pick up the phone and call me. Like, I don't understand what this aversion to vocal communication nowadays is.
I do sometimes start typing a text message out and I'm like, there is way too much information here. I just have to call this person. And so I think I've even called you, Leo, and been like, hey, it's just too much to do over text. We're just going to have a conversation live. But yeah, the kids don't feel that way.
Nope.
Mo doesn't feel that way. She's 1978 kid. She hates calling.
Sorry, Mo. I disagree with you.
I will usually text people to call me. I very rarely call someone, just cold call someone anymore. I will text them and say, when you have a minute, give me a call. And then we can talk on their time. But I hate cold calling somebody because I know as soon as that phone rings and it says Phillip on it, they're like, what does he want? What is this all about? Why is this phone device buzzing? What is going on now? But yeah, RC, it's still a valuable hand signal for phone. And I love Jacqueline's idea of tipping the cap. I'm not sure that wouldn't be a bad way to go. You could do the tip of the hat, although there's probably something else. You mentioned earlier, Leo, that Caballeros is gentlemen, but it's also got a second meaning. And what was it?
Knights.
Knights.
Like a knight.
I thought it was like horseman. I thought there was like a horseman sort of.
I mean, caballo means horse, and
Okay.
caballero means, it can mean like a horseman rider, but like
a person on a horse.
Yeah, but it was also what you would call a knight in Spanish.
He was on a horse, so, wasn't he?
Yeah, and a knight, they rode horses. So
gotcha. We'll figure out. We need text or we need hashtags, and we need a some sort of no. Don't do that.
It's a hashtag.
It's like you're throwing some sort of gang symbols up here.
It's a hashtag. The younger generation knows what it is. You don't, but I do.
You're right. I don't.
I'm hip.
I'm
hip.
No,
you may not be.
You may need a hip, but you're not hip.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God, Phillip!
Oh,
time for a commercial. Time out. I'm throwing a yellow flag and a red flag on that one.
Oh, speaking of yellow flags, I wonder if there's going to be a need for the yellow flags with the new officials. I
always
love that
need.
Greg Nelson
always a need.
The yellow flags to the I don't know if you knew this, Philip, because you're up there,
right?
But Greg Nelson still takes his yellow flag to the Gunslingers games. This past season, he had it at every game.
Until they prove we don't need them, I think we bring them. I think that's a good call.
Solid.
We hope officiating is better this year, but you never know until the rubber meets the road. So
I love Mission's highlighter latest 2 hashtag suggestions down there. We are caballeros.
And we are
hashtag we are caballeros and hashtag we are damas, because that's like
the damas are coming. The damas are coming. I'll let you know.
It's the San Antonio, and it's not they, it's us. We are, because it's a San Antonio thing. I like that.
So we got the Brahma Mamas, the Gunslingers, and now the Damas.
James Palmer, I doubt it'll be as bad as needing to play 3 blind mice. We don't know. We expect it to be better, but we don't know until it actually happens. It may be just as bad as it was last year. The officiating there in the Freeman Coliseum, we don't know.
Did the DJ ever play 3 blind mice at the Freeman? I don't recall.
They should.
They should have. Yeah, you could say that now that you're not on the broadcast.
Right. I would never say that on the broadcast.
But here,
I'm
on the Smoking Guns, you could say that.
Here, I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, nobody's listening to me.
Like break a hip.
I did not tell you to break your hip. I said you might need a new hip. That's what I said.
Oh, she said she was hip, and you said you might need a hip.
You might need a hip.
That's great. Great.
We are the Smoking Guns Podcast. We cover San Antonio professional football. We are brought to you by a great group of patrons who give us the ability to keep this show on the air. Leo and I were just talking about this before we came on. All of our costs have gone up monumentally, almost doubled over the last year. All of the streaming stuff that we put together, all of the services we use, all of them went up some. Some of them went up almost double. And there's just nothing we can do about it. That is what it is. And so we are still able to put the show together based on the patrons we have now. But all of that is going to cut into what we're going to have available to do camps, send scholarship kids for camps when we get to that time of year. All of that's going to cut in unless we gather a few more patrons to help us out. Our great patrons right now, Alfred Rodriguez, who's been joining us all night long as the mission highlighter. James Palmer, you've seen him tonight. Jay Washington, which we have not seen in a couple of weeks. We need to reach out to him. Jordan Stubing, James Stubing, Kim and Greg Nelson, which we just talked about with the flags. And Mo and Iris Ferrante. Mo's been checking in with us. In fact, she says it's hit to be square. Thank you, Huey Lewis, for the news. They are our patrons. If you would like to be a part of that group, go to patreon.com/SmokingGunsPod. Smoking no G, guns with a Z, P-O-D. And you can sign up for $5, $10, or $20 a month to help us make the show go. Again, all our costs have risen, and we're able to handle that right now. But it means that we'll have to cut into some of the ways that we give back to the kids in the community if we don't gather a few more patrons. So if that's something that you feel led to do, feel free to jump onto patreon.com and help us make that go. We are a part of the Fuel Network. You see that right down below me, right down here?
Yep.
Fuel Network. We think we are anyway. I think our last 2 shows have been kicked off live. I got to reach out to Jason and be like, hey, are we not part of the Fuel Network anymore? But for now, we believe we're part of the Fuel Network. It's a great place to get alternative sports coverage for all your favorite sports stuff. If ESPN gets on your nerves because they're just too corporate, great. Come hang out with us on Fuel. We have an app for your Roku TV as well as your Amazon Fire Stick, and you can watch sports coverage that is built for fans and by fans instead of for corporations and by corporations.
Right.
And I have a show on Wednesdays, the 18 with RC.
You sure do.
Yes.
You sure do. What do you guys got coming up soon with the 18?
Just kind of getting ready for tailgating and probably meeting some of the super fans.
Gotcha.
Oh, cool.
Well, with all that being said, when it comes to professional football, whether it's up in Tulsa or down in Jacksonville or all the way down in Chihuahua.
Where?
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
But it is spelled Chihuahua for all you gringos out there.
No matter where it happens, when it comes to professional football, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang.
All right. Thank you so much for those of you that are hanging on with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Mo, James, Alfred, all of you guys that have been with us the whole show. Really glad we were able to get Hal Mumme in there. I was kind of nervous there for a minute that we were going to have a weird kind of show, but he was able to jump on, and that was very, very cool. I'm excited about it. I'm also weary of it. So we'll see how it goes.
It's understandable. I mean, I think we all are, but we're all excited, and Coach Mumme and Jacqueline are great people. So
yes,
we will support them for sure.
If you want to know more about Hal Mumme, go read the book The Perfect Pass by S.E. Gwynn. It'll give you a whole understanding of that guy and how he put together the air raid offense. That's what it's all about. It's also got some Mike Leach in there. So if you're a reader or a listener, go check that out. All right, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure you download the episode when it goes live tomorrow. It really helps us out. Like, subscribe, rate. Wherever you get your podcasts, it helps. Thank you so much.
Have a blessed week.
Good night, all.